The candy ring wrapper fell from Maya's trembling fingers as she stared at the little Korean boy kneeling before her, his tiny hands clutching hers with surprising strength. Around them, the busy restaurant had gone completely silent. Every customer, every waiter, every person in that moment was watching them. The boy's dark eyes were shining with tears, his bottom lip quivering as he waited for her answer. "Please," he whispered in broken English, "be my mama, marry me." Maya's heart shattered into a million pieces. She had seen a lot of things working at Golden Phoenix restaurant for the past 3 years, but nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared her for this moment. This beautiful 6-year-old child was proposing to her with a piece of candy wrapper shaped into a ring, and he looked so desperate, so hopeful, that she felt tears burning in her own eyes. She glanced up quickly, looking for the boy's parents, looking for someone to help her handle this situation. But all she saw was his nanny, an older Korean woman with gray hair, standing a few feet away with tears streaming down her face. And in the far corner, partially hidden in a private booth, sat a man in an expensive suit. He was watching them intently, his face unreadable. Maya looked back down at the little boy. His name tag from school still hung around his neck. Min-yi. His name was Min-yi. "Sweetheart," Maya said softly, kneeling down so she was at his eye level, her knees pressed against the cold restaurant floor. "Why would you want to marry me? You don't even know me." "Yes, I do," Min-yi insisted, his small voice getting stronger. "You're kind. You smiled at me. You made the whipped cream look like a bunny. Nobody makes me bunnies anymore, not since Mama went to heaven." The restaurant seemed to tilt around Maya. She understood now. This wasn't just a child's game. This was grief. This was a little boy so desperate for maternal love that he was ready to grab onto the first kind woman who showed him attention. "Oh, baby," Maya whispered, pulling him into a hug. He collapsed against her, his small body shaking with sobs. She held him tight, rocking him gently, not caring that her apron was getting wet with his tears, not caring that everyone was starring, not caring about anything except comforting this broken little soul. "I miss her so much," Min-yi cried into her shoulder. "I miss my mama so much." "I know, sweetie, I know." Maya's own tears were falling now. She had lost her mother just last year. She knew this pain, she knew it so well. After a few minutes, Min-yi pulled back and looked at her with those enormous, hopeful eyes. "So will you? Will you marry me?" Maya made a decision in that moment. She could see that this child needed something to hold on to. He needed hope. He needed kindness. She could give him that, even if it was just pretend. "Okay," she said, smiling through her tears. "I'll marry you, but there's one condition." Min-yi's face lit up like the sun. What condition?" "You have to promise me that you'll go back to school and work really hard, and you have to eat all your vegetables, and you have to be kind to everyone you meet. Can you promise me that?" "Yes, yes, I promise." Min-yi was bouncing now, his earlier sadness replaced with pure joy. "I promise everything." "Then yes, I accept your proposal." Maya picked up the candy wrapper ring and slipped it onto her finger. It was too small, so she put it on her pinky. "There, now we're engaged." Min-yi threw his arms around her neck and squeezed so tight she could barely breathe. "Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to be the best husband ever. I'm going to grow up so big and strong, and I'm going to take care of you forever and ever." Maya laughed, a real genuine laugh. "I believe you, Min-yi, I believe you." If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our heartwarming stories. Your support means everything to us. The nanny finally approached, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. "I'm so sorry," she said in heavily accented English. "He's been so sad, so very sad, but today, seeing you, something changed in him. Thank you for being kind to him." "It's no problem at all," Maya said, standing up and brushing off her apron. "He's a sweet boy. You're raising him well." "I'm not raising him," the nanny said quietly. "His father is, I just help." "Well, his father is doing a good job then." The nanny smiled sadly. His father tries. He tries so hard, but work keeps him busy, too busy sometimes. Maya nodded, understanding. Single parents had it rough. She knew that from watching her own mother struggle. Well, Minyi is lucky to have both of you. Minyi tugged on her apron. Can I come see you again? Can I come visit my wife? Maya laughed again. Of course you can. I work here Tuesday through Saturday evening shifts. You can come visit any time. I'll come every day, Minyi declared. Every single day. We'll see about that, the nanny said gently, taking his hand. Come now, Minyi, we must go. Your father is waiting. Minyi hugged Maya one more time, squeezing her waist with all his little might. Don't forget me, okay? Don't forget you promised. I could never forget you, Maya said, ruffling his hair. You're my fiancé now, remember. The boy giggled and ran back to his nanny, waving frantically as they walked toward the corner booth where the man in the suit was standing. As they reached him, Minyi started talking excitedly, pointing back at Maya, his whole body vibrating with happiness. The man looked over at her, and for just a second their eyes met across the restaurant. Maya felt something strange flutter in her chest. Even from this distance, she could see the intensity in his gaze. He nodded at her, just once, a small gesture of acknowledgement. Then he took Minyi's hand and walked out of the restaurant, the nanny following close behind. Maya stood there for a moment, watching them leave, the candy wrapper ring still on her pinky finger. Her coworker Jessica rushed over immediately. Girl, what just happened? Jessica demanded, grabbing Maya's arm. Did that little boy just propose to you? And did that man in the corner just watch the whole thing? Maya, do you know who that was? Some businessman, I guess, Maya said, walking back toward the kitchen. She had other tables to serve. Her break was over. Some businessman, Jessica's voice went up 3 octaves. Maya, that was Kang Jinwoo, the Kang Jinwoo. Maya stopped walking. Who? Oh my God, you really don't know. Jessica pulled out her phone and started typing frantically. He's only one of the richest men in Korea, like Billionaire rich. He owns Kang Industries. They make everything. Electronics, cars, robotics, everything. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. That can't be right. He was just sitting there alone. Rich people don't sit alone in regular restaurants. Yes, they do when they want privacy, Jessica said, shoving her phone in Maya's face. On the screen was a photo from some business magazine. It was definitely the same man. Younger in the photo maybe, but the same sharp features, the same intense eyes. See, that's him, Kang Jinwoo, and that little boy must be his son. Maya looked down at the candy wrapper on her finger. I just accepted a marriage proposal from a billionaire's son. You sure did, Jessica said, grinning. And girl, he watched you the whole time. The father, I mean, he didn't take his eyes off you once. Stop it, Maya said, but she felt her cheeks getting warm. He was just worried about his son, that's all. Jessica said knowingly. Whatever you say. The rest of Maya's shift passed in a blur. She kept touching the candy wrapper on her finger, remembering the hope in Minyi's eyes, the way he had clung to her like she was a life raft in a stormy sea. She understood that feeling. After her mother died, she had felt like she was drowning too. Some days, she still felt that way. When her shift finally ended at 11 that night, Maya walked to the bus stop, her feet aching in her worn-out shoes. The Lowe's Angels night was cool, and she pulled her jacket tighter around herself. She had exactly $47,000 in medical debt from her mother's cancer treatment. The bills kept coming, even though her mother was gone. Maya paid what she could every month, but it never seemed to be enough. She made decent money at the restaurant, especially with tips, but it all went toward rent, food, and those crushing medical bills. Her dream of going back to school to become a teacher felt further away every single day, but she couldn't give up. Her mother hadn't raised a quitter. The bus was late, as usual. Maya sat on the bench and pulled out the drawing Minyi had given her before he left. She hadn't noticed it at first, but the nanny had tucked it into her apron pocket. It was a crayon drawing of two stick figures holding hands. One was small with black hair. One was taller with brown skin and a big smile. Above them, Min-yi had written in wobbly letters, "Me and my wife." Maya felt tears prickling her eyes again. God, when had she become such a crier? She carefully folded the drawing and put it in her purse. She would keep it safe. The next few days passed normally. Maya worked her shifts, smiled at customers, brought food, cleared tables, went home exhausted. She kept the candy wrapper ring on her pinky, even though Jessica teased her about it constantly. "You're really wearing that thing?" Jessica would ask every shift. "It makes me happy," Maya would reply simply. And it did. It reminded her that even in the middle of all her struggles, she had made one little boy smile. That meant something. On Thursday evening, exactly 5 days after the proposal, Min-yi came back. Maya was taking an order at table 7 when she heard a small voice yell across the restaurant. "Wife, my wife is here." She turned around to see Min-yi running toward her, his nanny chasing after him and apologizing to everyone he bumped into. Maya's face broke into a huge smile. "Min-yi," she caught him as he launched himself at her, lifting him up in a big hug. "You came back." "I told you I would," he said seriously. "I promised, and husbands keep promises." "Yes, they do," Maya agreed, setting him down. "Are you here for dinner?" "Yes, and I brought you something." Min-yi reached into his pocket and pulled out a slightly crushed daisy. "It's your wedding flower. I picked it from the garden at school." Maya's throat got tight. "It's beautiful, Min-yi. It's the most beautiful flower I've ever seen." "Really?" His face glowed with pride. "Really?" Maya held the flower carefully like it was made of glass. "Thank you so much." The nanny approached, looking apologetic. "I told him we should buy real flowers from a shop, but he insisted on picking one himself." "This is much better than store flowers," Maya said firmly. "This one was picked with love." Min-yi beamed up at her, and Maya felt her heart swell so much it hurt. She hadn't realized how much she had missed this little boy until this exact moment. 5 days had felt like forever. "Can you eat dinner with us?" Min-yi asked, tugging on her hand. "Please, I want to tell you about school." Maya glanced at her section. She had 3 tables right now, and her manager was watching from across the room. "I'm working, sweetie, but I can come check on you while you eat. How about that?" Min-yi's face fell a little, but he nodded. "Okay, but you have to come lots of times, like 10 times." "I'll come as many times as I can," Maya promised. She looked at the nanny. "Same table as last time." "Actually," a deep voice said from behind them, "we have a reservation for the private room." Maya spun around and found herself face to face with Kang Jinwoo. Up close, he was even more striking than she remembered. Tall, probably 6 feet, with sharp cheekbones and dark eyes that seemed to see right through her. He was wearing another expensive suit, this one dark blue, and he carried himself with the kind of confidence that came from always being the most powerful person in any room. "Mr. Kang," Maya said, her voice coming out smaller than she intended. She cleared her throat and tried again. "Welcome back to Golden Phoenix." "Thank you." His English was perfect, barely accented. "And thank you for what you did for my son last week. Mrs. Park tells me he hasn't stopped talking about you since." "It's true," the nanny confirmed. "Every day, all day, Maya this, Maya that." Maya felt her cheeks get hot. "He's a wonderful boy. It was my pleasure." "Daddy, can Maya eat with us?" Min-yi interrupted, pulling on his father's sleeve. "Please, she's my wife. Wives should eat with their families." An expression Maya couldn't quite read flickered across Jinwoo's face. "Min-yi, we discussed this. Maya is working. We can't interrupt her job." "But I want her there." Min-yi's voice got whiny, and his eyes started filling with tears. "Please, Daddy, please." Jinwoo looked at Maya, and she saw something in his eyes that surprised her. Desperation. This powerful billionaire was desperate to make his son happy, and he didn't know how. "I can check with my manager," Maya offered quietly. Maybe I can take my break during your dinner. I can't stay the whole time, but I could sit with you for a little while. Would you? Jinwoo asked, and there was genuine gratitude in his voice. I would appreciate that very much, and of course we'll compensate you for your time. That's not necessary, Maya said quickly. Really? I insist. His tone left no room for argument. Please, check with your manager. Maya nodded and headed toward the back, very aware that Jinwoo was watching her walk away. Her manager, Mr. Chen, was in his office doing paperwork. Mr. Chen, I have a strange request, Maya started. 20 minutes later, Maya found herself sitting in the private dining room with the Kang family. Mr. Chen had been surprisingly understanding, especially when she mentioned who the customer was. He told her to take a full hour break and to make sure Mr. Kang was happy. Good publicity, he'd said. Minyi was sitting right next to her, so close that he was practically in her lap. He'd insisted on ordering her favorite foods, even though she'd told him she wasn't that hungry. You have to eat, Minyi said seriously. You're too skinny. My wife needs to be healthy and strong. Jinwoo coughed, and Maya was pretty sure he was hiding a smile. Minyi, remember what we talked about in the car. I know, Minyi sighed dramatically. Maya might not want to really be my wife, but she can pretend, right, Maya? You can pretend. Maya looked at this sweet, hopeful little boy and then at his father who was watching her with those intense dark eyes. I can pretend, she said softly. For you, Minyi, I can pretend. The dinner was strange and wonderful at the same time. Minyi talked non-stop about school, about his friends, about a butterfly he'd seen in the garden, about everything and nothing. He was like a different child from the sad little boy she'd met last week. He was alive, animated, happy. Mrs. Park ate quietly, smiling at Minyi's chatter, and Jinwoo watched everything with an expression that made Maya's chest ache. He was watching his son be happy, and it was like he was seeing something he'd thought was lost forever. Maya, do you have kids? Minyi asked suddenly, pausing between bites of rice. No, sweetie, I don't. Why not? You'd be a great mama. Maya's smile felt sad on her face. I'm not married, and I work a lot, maybe someday. You're married to me, Minyi pointed out logically, so we could have Bobbies together. When I'm big, I mean. Minyi, Jinwoo said sharply, that's enough. The boy's face fell. I'm sorry, Daddy, I'm sorry, Maya. It's okay, Maya said quickly, touching his hand. You didn't say anything wrong. I'm just not ready for Bobbies yet. But when you grow up, I'm sure you'll be an amazing father just like your dad. Jinwoo's eyes met hers across the table and something passed between them. Understanding, maybe. Recognition of shared pain. She didn't know this man at all, but in that moment she felt like she could see into his soul. He was lonely, just as lonely as his son had been. Tell me about yourself, Maya, Jinwoo said, changing the subject smoothly. How long have you worked at Golden Phoenix? 3 years, Maya answered, since I moved to LA. Where are you from originally? Georgia, a small town outside Atlanta. My mama and I moved here when I was 25 because she needed better medical care. Your mother is ill, Jinwoo's voice was gentle. She was, Maya said quietly. She passed away last year, cancer. Minyi's head popped up. Your mama went to heaven too. Yes, baby, she did. Minyi climbed into her lap without asking permission and wrapped his arms around her neck. I'm sorry. It's really hard when your mama goes to heaven. It is, Maya whispered, holding him close. It's the hardest thing in the world. They sat like that for a moment, two people who understood grief holding onto each other. When Maya looked up, she saw Jinwoo staring at them with an expression that broke her heart. His eyes were shining with unshed tears. Minyi lost his mother 3 years ago, Jinwoo said quietly, his voice rough with emotion. She had a brain aneurysm. One day she was fine, laughing and making breakfast. The next day she was gone. We never got to say goodbye. I'm so sorry, Maya said, and she meant it with everything in her. That must have been devastating for both of you. He stopped talking for 6 months, Jinwoo continued, and now a tear did escape running down his cheek. He brushed it away quickly. The doctors said it was trauma, selective mutism. I tried everything. Therapists, specialists, medications. Nothing worked. Then one day he just started talking again, but he was different, quieter, sadder, like a light had gone out inside him. Until he met you, Mrs. Park added softly. That day here in this restaurant was the first time I heard him laugh in 3 years. Really laugh. The way children are supposed to laugh. Maya felt tears running down her own face now. She looked down at Minyi, who had fallen asleep in her arms, exhausted from all his excitement. His face was peaceful, relaxed. He looked like what he was, a little boy who should be carefree and happy. I didn't do anything special, Maya whispered. I just made him a whipped cream bunny. You did more than that, Jinwoo said, his voice intense. You saw him, really saw him, not as a rich man's son, not as a tragic case, just as a little boy who needed kindness. Do you know how rare that is? Maya didn't know what to say to that, so she just held Minyi closer, feeling his small heart beating against her chest. The rest of the dinner passed in quieter conversation. Jinwoo asked her about her dreams, her hopes for the future. She found herself telling him things she rarely shared with anyone, about wanting to be a teacher, about the debt that kept her trapped, about how hard it was to keep hopping when everything felt impossible. He listened to every word, never interrupting, never judging, and when she finished, he just nodded like he understood, like he really, truly understood. When her break was over, Maya carefully transferred the sleeping Minyi to his father's arms. The boy stirred slightly, mumbling, "Love you, Maya," before settling against his father's chest. He's never said that to anyone except me and his mother, Jinwoo said quietly, staring down at his son with wonder. Never. Maya's heart clenched. He's a special boy, you're raising him well. I'm trying, Jinwoo said, and he sounded so tired. God, I'm trying so hard, but I don't know if it's enough. It is, Maya said firmly. He knows you love him, that's what matters most. Jinwoo looked at her for a long moment, and Maya felt like he was memorizing her face. Thank you, Maya, for everything. You're welcome. As they were leaving, Jinwoo pressed something into her hand. Please take this for your time tonight. Maya looked down and saw 5 $100 bills. Her eyes went wide. Mr. Kang, I can't accept this. This is too much. It's not enough, he said quietly. You gave my son something priceless tonight. You gave him hope. Please take it. Maya wanted to refuse, but $500 would cover her groceries for 2 months. Pride was a luxury she couldn't afford. Thank you, she said softly. Thank you so much. He nodded and walked out, carrying his sleeping son, Mrs. Park following behind. Maya stood there for a long time, holding the money and the crushed daisy, feeling like her whole world had just tilted on its axis. The next 2 weeks fell into a pattern. Minyi came to the restaurant 3 times a week, always with Mrs. Park, sometimes with his father. He would sit in Maya's section and do his homework while she worked, looking up every few minutes to make sure she was still there. During her breaks, she would sit with him, helping him with his English homework, listening to his stories, making him laugh. Jinwoo came twice during those 2 weeks. He always sat quietly, watching her interact with Minyi, never interrupting. But Maya could feel his eyes on her constantly. It should have made her uncomfortable, but it didn't. Instead, it made her feel seen, valued, important. Jessica noticed, of course. Girl, that man is falling for you, she said one night while they were closing. Don't be ridiculous, Maya said, wiping down tables. He's grateful because I'm nice to his son, that's all. Hum, and I'm the Queen of England. Jessica leaned against the counter, grinning. Maya, honey, I've been waitressing for 15 years. I know what it looks like when a man is interested, and that man is very, very interested. He's a billionaire, Jessica. I'm a waitress with massive debt. We live in completely different worlds. So, Romeo and Juliet were from different families. Jack and Rose were from different social classes. Both of those stories ended tragically, Maya pointed out. Okay, bad examples, but my point stands. Don't count yourself out just because he has money. Maya didn't respond, but later that night, lying in her tiny apartment, she let herself think about it. About Jinwoo. About the way he looked at her. About the gentleness in his voice when he talked to his son. About the sadness in his eyes that matched her own. But it was impossible. She knew that. Men like Kang Jinwoo didn't end up with women like her. That only happened in fairy tales. On a Tuesday evening, exactly 3 weeks after the proposal, everything changed. Maya was working her usual shift when the restaurant manager called her into his office. Mr. Chen looked nervous, which was unusual. He was normally unflappable. "Maya, there's someone here to see you," he said, wringing his hands. "In the private dining room, he says it's important." Maya's stomach dropped. "Who is it?" "Mr. Kang. He asked to speak with you privately. He said to take as much time as you need. I've covered all your tables." Maya walked to the private dining room on shaking legs. Her mind was racing with possibilities. Was Minyi okay? Had something happened? Why did Jinwoo look so serious when Mr. Chen mentioned him? She knocked softly on the door and heard Jinwoo's voice say, "Come in." He was standing by the window, looking out at the Lowe's Angels skyline. He was wearing a black suit today, perfectly tailored, and his hands were clasped behind his back. He looked every inch the powerful CEO that he was. "Mr. Kang," Maya said, closing the door behind her. "Is everything all right? Is Minyi okay?" He turned to face her, and the expression on his face made her breath catch. He looked determined, resolved, like he had made a difficult decision and was ready to see it through. "Minyi is fine," he said. "He's at home with Mrs. Park, probably drawing you another picture." A small smile touched his lips, then faded. "I asked you here because I have a proposition for you, a business proposition." Maya's heart sank a little. Of course it was business. What else would it be? "Okay," she said carefully, "I'm listening." Jinwoo gestured to the table. "Please sit down." Maya sat, and he sat across from her, his hands folded on the table. He looked nervous, which seemed impossible. What did a billionaire have to be nervous about? "I'm going to be very direct with you, Maya," he said, "because I respect you too much to play games or be dishonest. I need your help. Minyi needs your help." "What kind of help?" Maya asked. "I want you to come to Seoul, to Korea, for 1 year. He held up a hand when she started to speak. "Please let me finish. I want you to be Minyi's companion, not a nanny, not a servant, a friend, a mentor, someone who can teach him joy again, someone who can help him heal." Maya stared at him. "You want me to move to Korea, to leave everything here?" "I know it's a lot to ask," Jinwoo said quickly. "I know it sounds crazy, but Maya, in 3 weeks you have done more for my son than 3 years of therapy." He smiles now. He laughs. He talks about the future. He has hope. And it's all because of you. "Mr. Kang, I'm just a waitress. I don't have any special training. I wouldn't know how to." "You know exactly how to help him," Jinwoo interrupted gently. "You help him by being yourself, by being kind, by seeing him as a child who deserves happiness, not a problem that needs to be fixed." Maya's head was spinning. "I can't just leave my life. I have responsibilities here. I have bills to pay. I have." "I'll pay off all your debts," Jinwoo said. "Every single one, the medical bills, everything. Consider it done." Maya felt like she couldn't breathe. "That's $47,000. "I know. I had my people look into it. I hope you don't mind." She should have minded. She should have been angry that he investigated her. But all she could think about was being free. Free from the crushing weight of that debt. Free to actually live instead of just survive. "And I'll pay you a salary," Jinwoo continued. $150,000 for the year, plus a private apartment in Seoul, plus a car and driver, plus language lessons if you want them, plus full health insurance, plus anything else you need. Maya's hands were shaking. That was more money than she had ever dreamed of having. That was enough to completely change her life. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do all this for me?" Jinwoo's face softened. "Because my son chose you. In 6 years of life, through all his pain and loss, he chose you as the person he wanted to hold onto. And I trust his judgment more than I trust my own. He knew you were special before I did." "What if I fail?" Maya asked, tears running down her face now. "What if I come all the way to Korea and I can't help him? What if I make things worse?" "You won't," Jinwoo said with absolute certainty. "But even if you did, even if you came and it didn't work out, you would still walk away with your debts paid and money in the bank. You would still be better off than you are now. You have nothing to lose, Maya, nothing." He was right. She knew he was right. But it was terrifying, moving to a foreign country, leaving everything familiar behind, taking responsibility for a grieving child's happiness. "I need time to think," Maya said. "This is a huge decision." "Of course," Jinwoo said immediately. "Take 48 hours, think about it carefully, talk to your friends, your family, do whatever you need to do, but Maya." He reached across the table and took her hand, and the warmth of his skin against her sent electricity shooting up her arm. "I hope you say yes, not just for Minyi, for you too. You deserve a chance to chase your dreams. You deserve to be free from the weight you've been carrying." Maya looked down at their joined hands. His were smooth and uncalloused, the hands of someone who had never had to work with them. Hers were rough and scarred from years of restaurant work. They shouldn't fit together, but somehow they did. "I'll think about it," she promised. "I'll really think about it." Jinwoo nodded and released her hand, though he seemed reluctant to do so. "That's all I ask." He pulled a business card from his pocket and slid it across the table. "My personal number. Call me when you've made your decision. Day or night. I don't care what time it is." Maya took the card, running her thumb over the embossed letters. "Okay." "There's one more thing," Jinwoo said. "Before you go, I want you to know that this isn't just about Minyi. Yes, he needs you, but I've been watching you these past 3 weeks, and I see someone who is drowning. Someone who is working herself to death trying to pay off debts that weren't even her fault. Someone who has put all her dreams on hold to survive. I want to throw you a lifeline, Maya. Please, let me help you." His words broke something open inside her. She started crying harder, big, messy sobs that she couldn't control. No one had seen her struggle. No one had acknowledged how hard she was fighting just to keep her head above water. But he had seen it. This stranger had seen her in a way that even her friends hadn't. If you're still watching, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We share stories of hope, kindness, and unexpected connections every week. Your support helps us keep bringing these stories to you. Jinwoo stood up and walked around the table, crouching down beside her chair. He didn't touch her, but his presence was comforting. "It's okay," he said softly. "It's okay to be tired. It's okay to need help. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you human." Maya looked at him through her tears, really looked at him. And what she saw wasn't a billionaire CEO. She saw a man who understood pain, a man who understood loss, a man who was just as tired as she was, just as desperate for something real and good in his life. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for seeing me." "You're impossible not to see," he said, and there was something in his voice that made her heart skip. "You light up every room you walk into, even when you're exhausted, even when you're struggling, you still shine." He stood up slowly, giving her space. "Take your time, think about it. But whatever you decide, know that meeting you has already changed my son's life. And mine too." Then he walked out, leaving Maya sitting alone in the private dining room, her future hanging in the balance. She didn't go back to work that night. Mr. Chen sent her home, probably sensing that she was in no state to serve customers. Maya took the bus home in a daze, Jinwoo's business card clutched in her hand. Her apartment was tiny and cold when she got there. One bedroom, a bathroom so small you could barely turn around, a kitchen with appliances from the 1980s. But it was hers. It was safe. It was familiar. Maya lay on her bed and stared at the ceiling. Korea. She would be moving to Korea. Because she was going to say yes. She knew it already, had known it the moment Jinwoo mentioned paying off her debts. She was going to say yes because she was tired of drowning. She was going to say yes because Min-yi needed her. She was going to say yes because maybe, just maybe, this was the chance her mother had always told her to watch for. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. Sometimes angels come in the strangest packages, baby girl. When opportunity knocks, you open that door. You open it wide and you walk through with your head held high. Maya pulled out her phone and looked at old photos of her mother. Beautiful, strong, brave even when she was dying. She had fought so hard to give Maya a better life. And now Maya had a chance to honor that fight, to actually live instead of just surviving. She went to her mother's grave the next morning. It was early, barely sunrise, and the cemetery was quiet and peaceful. Maya sat on the grass next to the headstone and talked out loud, the way she always did. "Mama, I don't know what to do," she said. "There's this little boy. He's 6 years old and he lost his mama just like I lost you. And he's hurting so bad, Mama. He's hurting just like I hurt. And his daddy wants me to go to Korea to help him heal. He's offering me so much money, enough to pay off all the medical bills, enough to finally be free." A breeze rustled through the trees, and Maya closed her eyes, imagining it was her mother's hand touching her face. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared to leave. I'm scared to fail. I'm scared that I'm not good enough for this. But I'm also scared of staying here, scared of working myself to death and never achieving anything, scared of waking up in 20 years and realizing I wasted my whole life being afraid." A bird landed on top of her mother's headstone and sang a sweet, clear song. Maya watched it, feeling something settle in her chest. Peace. Decision. "I'm going to go, Mama," she said. "I'm going to take this chance. I'm going to help this little boy and I'm going to help myself too. I hope you're proud of me. I hope I'm making the right choice." The bird sang again, then flew away, soaring into the brightening sky. Maya took it as a sign. She called Jinwoo that afternoon. He answered on the first ring. "Maya," he said, and she could hear the tension in his voice. "Have you made your decision?" "Yes," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I'll do it. I'll come to Korea. I'll help Min-yi." There was silence on the other end for a long moment. Then Jinwoo let out a breath that sounded like relief and joy all mixed together. "Thank you," he said, and his voice was rough with emotion. "Thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to us." "I have one condition though," Maya said. "Anything, name it." "I want to really help him, not just be there for show. I want to actually make a difference in his life. So if I think something needs to change, or if I have ideas about what he needs, I want you to listen to me. Really listen." "Done," Jinwoo said immediately. "Absolutely done. Maya, I trust you completely. If you think something is best for Min-yi, I'll support it." "Okay then," Maya said, and she couldn't help but smile. "I guess I'm moving to Korea." "I'll have my assistant contact you tomorrow to arrange everything," Jinwoo said. "Flights, visa, packing, everything. You won't have to worry about any of the logistics. Just focus on saying goodbye to your friends and getting ready for your new adventure." "Can I tell Min-yi?" Maya asked. "Or do you want to surprise him?" "Tell him," Jinwoo said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. "He's been asking me every single day if you said yes yet. He's been so anxious. Tell him tonight if you want. I'll put him on." Maya heard muffled sounds. Then Min-yi's excited voice came through the phone. "Maya, Maya, is that you?" "Hi, sweetie," Maya said, her heart swelling. "Guess what? I have some news for you." "What news? What is it?" "I'm coming to Korea. I'm going to come live there for a whole year so I can spend lots of time with you." The scream that came through the phone was so loud Maya had to hold it away from her ear. "Really, really, really, you're coming here, to my house, to Korea?" "Really, really," Maya confirmed, laughing. "I'll be there in 2 weeks." 2 weeks? That's so long, that's forever. Min-yi was practically vibrating with excitement. "Daddy, Daddy," she said. "Yes, my wife said yes." Maya heard Jinwoo's voice in the background, warm and amused. "I know, son, I know. But remember, Maya is coming to be your friend, not actually your wife." I know," Min-yi said impatiently. "But she's still special, she's still mine." "Yes," Jinwoo said softly, "she's still very special." The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of activity. Jinwoo's assistant, an efficient woman named Miss Lee, called Maya the very next day and handled absolutely everything. She arranged for Maya's visa, booked her first-class flight, organized professional packers to box up her apartment, and even found someone to take over her lease. Maya barely had to lift a finger. It was surreal. Jessica threw her a going-away party at the restaurant. All her coworkers came, and they gave her a photo album filled with pictures from the past 3 years. Maya cried looking through it, remembering all the good times, all the struggles they had survived together. "You better not forget us when you're living the fancy life in Korea," Jessica said, hugging her tight. "And girl, if that man proposes to you, you say yes immediately. You hear me?" "Jinwoo isn't interested in me like that," Maya protested. "This is just about Min-yi." "Hum," Jessica said, giving her that knowing look. "We'll see about that. I'm giving it 3 months before he realizes he's in love with you." "You're ridiculous," Maya said, but she was smiling. Mr. Chen gave her a generous severance package and told her she would always have a job at Golden Phoenix if she came back. His kindness made her tear up again. The night before her flight, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed in her empty apartment, surrounded by suitcases, thinking about everything that was about to change. She was terrified and excited in equal measure. Tomorrow, she would get on a plane to a country she had never visited, to help a child she barely knew, to start a life she couldn't even imagine. But underneath the fear was something else. Hope. Real, genuine hope for the first time in years. The flight to Seoul was 14 hours long. Maya had never flown first class before. She had barely flown at all. The seats were like beds, and the flight attendants brought her whatever she wanted. It felt like a dream. When the plane finally landed at Incheon International Airport, Maya's stomach was full of butterflies. She cleared customs, collected her luggage, and walked out into the arrivals hall, scanning the crowd nervously. Then she saw them. Min-yi was holding a huge sign that said "Welcome Maya" with hearts drawn all over it. He was bouncing up and down, barely able to contain his excitement. Mrs. Park stood beside him, smiling warmly. And behind them both was Jinwoo, looking somehow even more handsome than Maya remembered. The moment Min-yi saw her, he dropped the sign and ran. He crashed into her at full speed, wrapping his arms around her waist and squeezing so tight she could barely breathe. "You came, you really came. I thought maybe you would change your mind, but you came." Maya dropped her carry-on bag and hugged him back just as fiercely. "Of course I came. I promised you, didn't I? And I always keep my promises." "Just like a good wife," Min-yi said, grinning up at her. "Just like a good friend," Maya corrected gently, ruffling his hair. Jinwoo approached and Maya felt her breath catch. He was wearing jeans and a simple sweater instead of a suit, and somehow that made him even more attractive. He looked relaxed, happy. "Welcome to Korea, Maya," he said, and his smile was genuine and warm. "How was your flight?" "Wonderful," Maya said. "Thank you for the first-class ticket. You really didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did," Jinwoo said firmly. "You're doing something incredible for my family. The least I can do is make sure you're comfortable." They collected her luggage, and Jinwoo insisted on pushing the cart himself despite having a driver waiting. Minyi held Maya's hand the entire walk to the car, chattering non-stop about all the things he wanted to show her, all the places they would go together. The car was sleek and black and probably cost more than Maya had made in her entire life. The driver loaded her luggage while Jinwoo held the door open for her. Maya slid into the back seat, and Minyi immediately climbed in next to her, refusing to sit anywhere else. As they drove through Seoul, Maya stared out the window in wonder. The city was massive, modern, beautiful. Skyscrapers reached toward the sky. Neon signs lit up the streets. People rushed everywhere with purpose and energy. It was nothing like her small town in Georgia. It was nothing like LA either. It was completely, utterly different. "Are you scared?" Minyi asked, looking up at her with those big, perceptive eyes. "A little," Maya admitted, "but I'm excited too." "Don't be scared," Minyi said seriously. "I'll take care of you, I'll teach you Korean, I'll show you all the best places, I'll protect you." Maya felt tears pricking her eyes. This sweet, precious boy. "Thank you, Minyi, that makes me feel much better." Jinwoo caught her eye in the rearview mirror, and the look he gave her was so warm, so full of gratitude and something else she couldn't quite name, that it made her heart race. They pulled up to a beautiful high-rise building in an upscale neighborhood. The driver opened Maya's door and she stepped out, craning her neck to look up at the building. It had to be at least 40 stories tall. "This is where you'll be living," Jinwoo said, coming to stand beside her. "We're on the top floor. You'll have your own apartment, completely private, but you'll be close to us, close to Minyi." "You live here too?" Maya asked. "The penthouse," Jinwoo confirmed. "I bought the entire top 2 floors years ago. Your apartment is on the lower level, ours is on the upper. There's a private elevator connecting them, but you'll have complete privacy. You can lock it from your side whenever you want." They rode the elevator up in silence except for Minyi's continued chatter. When the doors opened, Maya gasped. The apartment was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. The furniture was modern and elegant. The kitchen had top-of-the-line everything. It was bigger than any place she had ever lived. "This is too much," Maya whispered. "This is way too much." "It's exactly right," Jinwoo said firmly. "You deserve comfort and beauty, Maya. Please accept it." Over the next few weeks, Maya settled into her new life. She spent every afternoon with Minyi after he got home from school. They would do homework together, then play games, read books, or explore the neighborhood. The boy was like a different person. He laughed constantly. He talked about everything. He made friends at school and invited them over for playdates. Maya watched him transform, and it filled her heart with so much joy she thought she might burst. This was why she had come. This was what mattered. Jinwoo joined them for dinner most evenings. At first, Maya thought it would be awkward, but it wasn't. He was easy to talk to, genuinely interested in her thoughts and opinions. They would sit around the table for hours after Minyi went to bed, just talking about life, about dreams, about everything and nothing. And somewhere along the way, Maya realized she was falling in love with him. It crept up on her slowly, like sunrise. The way he looked at his son with such fierce love. The way he listened to her ideas without dismissing them. The way he laughed at her jokes. The way he touched her hand accidentally and then looked at her like he never wanted to let go. 3 months into her year in Korea, everything changed again. Minyi had gone to bed early, exhausted from a field trip to the zoo. Maya and Jinwoo were sitting on his balcony, looking out at the glittering city lights, drinking wine and talking quietly. "I need to tell you something," Jinwoo said suddenly, setting down his glass and turning to face her. "I've been trying to hold this in for weeks now, but I can't anymore." Maya's heart started pounding. "What is it?" "I'm falling in love with you," Jinwoo said, his voice rough and honest. "Maybe I've been falling since the moment I watched you accept my son's proposal with such kindness and grace. I hired you to help Minyi, and you've done that beyond my wildest dreams. But you've helped me too, Maya. You've reminded me what it feels like to hope, To want something for myself, not just for my son. Maya couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only stare at this incredible man who was looking at her like she hung the moon. I know this is complicated, Jinwoo continued. I know you work for me technically. I know we come from different worlds, but I don't care about any of that. I only care about you, about the way you make me feel, about the way you've brought light back into our lives. Jinwoo, Maya whispered, I'm falling in love with you too. I've been trying not to, but I can't help it. The smile that broke across his face was like the sun coming out. He reached for her hand, threading his fingers through hers. Really? You mean it? Really, Maya confirmed. I mean it with everything I am. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. But Maya didn't want to pull away. She wanted this, wanted him. Their lips met softly, tentatively, and it felt like coming home. It felt like everything she had been searching for her entire life. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were smiling. So what happens now? Maya asked. Now, Jinwoo said, we take things slow, we figure this out together, and we tell Minyi when the time is right. He's going to be insufferable, Maya said, laughing. He's going to say he knew all along. He probably did, Jinwoo agreed, pulling her close. Children see things adults miss. Maya rested her head on his shoulder, looking out at Seoul, her new home, the city where everything had changed, where a little boy's innocent proposal had led to the greatest adventure of her life. 6 months later, Jinwoo proposed for real, not with a candy wrapper, but with a diamond ring that had belonged to his grandmother. And when Maya said yes, Minyi cheered so loud the entire building probably heard him. I told you, he crowed. I told you she would be my mama. I told everyone. Maya laughed and cried and held both of them close, her heart so full it ached. She had come to Korea to help a grieving child, but in the process she had found a family. She had found love. She had found herself. And it all started with a little boy who saw her, really saw her, and decided she was worth loving. Sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes angels really do come in the strangest packages. And sometimes a candy ring wrapper is the beginning of forever. Thank you so much for watching this story. If it touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and share it with someone who needs to hear a story of hope today. Drop a comment below telling us what you thought. We love hearing from you. And remember, kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything. Until next time, keep believing in the power of love.